2026 is the year that we're going to be turning a corner. We're going to turn the corner. We're turning a corner.
The country is freshly disgusted by the Mandelson affair, doesn't want to listen to Starmer, and the country remains disgusted by the way the Tories behaved when they were in power. And so today, the obvious conclusion, the overwhelming likelihood, is that we are heading towards a plague on both their houses' election and a reform government. Politics of Peter Mandelson, who he now regards as the viper he took to his bosom, is all about the interests of the super-rich, the corporate bankers, the big American tech companies digging themselves ever deeper into our public life. The Mandelson affair wasn't just about one guy making a mistake about another guy. It was about the arrogance and the entitlement of the privileged them, and these days, the increasingly furious us. And that is why, even though Epstein was deeply involved in the far right across Europe and the Russians, populism has not yet been set back by this affair. It may be unfair, but Nigel Farage remains in a very strong position, and we are heading for wild political upsets.
On the 27th of February 2025, the Prime Minister, whilst in Washington, visited the American data and AI company Palantir at its headquarters. The meeting did not appear in the Prime Minister's register of visits. It only came to light later. Now, Palantir, we should remember or remind ourselves, was a client of Global Counsel, the company in which Peter Mandelson had a commanding share. Later that year, Palantir received from this government a £240 million deal. That deal was granted by direct award. Given the allegations now coming to light about Mandelson's conduct, can the Minister assure the House that the Cabinet Secretary will review the circumstances around the award of that contract and assure himself that there are no other such contracts, no other undisclosed meetings, that the government is going to go through all of the communications that Mandelson sent out whilst he was ambassador? In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knew that Peter Mandelson had maintained an unhealthy relationship with a man who was a convicted paedophile, and he appointed him to the role of ambassador anyway. Everybody in this House should be shocked by it. It must be concluded that had the Prime Minister been pressed on that point at the time, the appointment would not have been made. But the Prime Minister knew, his aides knew, and the appointment was made anyway. What else did he know? But I think it's also likely that we'll see that there were reports that consistently raised concerns that were swept away. And it will then be the duty of the government to disclose who swept them away and why. Ultimate responsibility must rest with the Prime Minister.
Any leader of any country has to be truthful, and he is to a certain extent. But he has America's interests at heart. Mr. Starmer and the MP for where you are now, in Pudsey,
Rachel Reeves.
Miss Reeves,
Judge me on my record.
should be a little bit more honest, and then maybe then they get a little bit of respect, especially from people from Yorkshire, because we talk just the same as Donald Trump, love.